All right, there's Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Good evening.
Jeff,
Hey, Ken.
All right, the gang's all here. And we're recording. We're good, Neil?
We're good to go.
All right, I'll start with my favorite spiel here. Okay. Hi, everyone. Here's the right to know law meeting checklist. As chair of the Hopkinton Select Board due to COVID-19 coronavirus crisis, in accordance with Governor Sununu's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board's authorized to meet electronically. Note, there's no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which is authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the order, this is to confirm we're doing the following. A, providing public access to the meeting by phone with additional access by video or other electronic means. We're using Zoom for this meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during the meeting through Zoom. The public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate by dialing 1-646-558-8656. And we've also provided a Zoom web address for the public. B, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom. Instructions are on the Town of Hopkinton's website and on the town Facebook page. C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please call 603-746-8242 or email townadmin@hopkinton-newhampshire.gov. D, adjourning the meeting if the public's unable to access the meeting. In the event the public cannot access the meeting, we will adjourn and have it rescheduled. Note, all votes will be taken by roll call. A couple of things to keep in mind. This is being recorded. It will be available on the town website. The select board's unmuted. Everyone else is muted. If you have a question during the meeting, you can raise your hand. And during public forum, lines will be unmuted so others can speak. So we will start by taking roll call attendance. So state your presence and if there's anyone in the room with you. All right, this is Sabrina Dunlap. I'm alone in my office. I'll go to Ken.
this is Ken Traum and I am alone.
Anna.
Anna Wells, I'm alone for now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Jeff.
Jeff Donahoe alone.
And Stephen.
Stephen Whitley alone in the room.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. So, next on the agenda, points of pride.
Sure, I have one I'll share today. I had a call from Joe Tristiano, who's the sexton. There was a limb that came down during one of the recent storms in the last couple of weeks. And he was very appreciative of how quickly the highway crew was there to help him clean that up. He had called them, and then when he went to go back, it was all done. So, and I know they have been dealing with trees through some of these storms, getting them down, and we've been getting good reports. So I thank them for that.
Thank you. I just want to thank Neil and Bruce and everyone who helped get the mailer ready. And just thank you for everything you're doing, Neil. I know you're working extra hours and going above and beyond here. So thank you for everything.
I similarly wanted to thank Bruce and Neil, and I think Neil's been working 80-hour weeks recently to keep us going. Thank you, Neil.
It always happens at town meeting time. It's just
But this one's been extra drawn out.
Yeah,
it's
it's 2 a year.
usually not in July.
Oh, man. Anything else for points of pride?
I just wanted to acknowledge that I don't know who is responsible for this individually, but there's an effort started called, what is it called? Shared Harvest of Hopkinton, which is an effort so that folks can donate their surplus bounty of their gardens and their chickens to the food pantry. And I think that's a wonderful effort. It's to be applauded and promoted. And I want to just extend gratitude to whoever is responsible for that, and in advance for everyone who chips in for that.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty awesome.
It was a high school student, I believe, that's heading it up.
That's all I know too.
Great idea. Okay, moving on to administrative approval of the consent agenda, and on a related note, potentially Jeff or someone will go sign on behalf of the board.
Happy to do it.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
I move we adopt the consent agenda and allow me to sign.
I will second that. Any,
Have we seen the submissions from the 3 appointments to office?
Yeah, they're in today. They're in the group.
They are?
Yep.
Maybe I just missed
oh
it.
yeah,
So were they there or just the letters that we would be signing?
All I saw were the letters that we signed.
That's what I was referring to. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, the applications weren't attached?
No.
Okay, we could send those out.
are you okay approving, Stephen?
I think we should see them before we approve. Neil, is there any repercussions if this gets put off a week or two?
There is on the one zoning board alternate, because they're trying to schedule a meeting and they are short members.
Okay.
I believe Dulcie Lymphoma has agreed to sit on that case if she is appointed.
I guess I know who Dulcie is, and I think that she'd be an excellent appointee as an alternate. I'm less familiar with the other two, and maybe that's where I was looking for some sort of application material. That's just, I guess, if everybody else feels comfortable with at least doing the ZBA ones, or Dulcie or someone, that's fine. But I personally don't know a lot about the other two, and that's why I was asking for the application information.
Do you want to pull, let's leave Dulcie so she can potentially attend their meeting, and pull the other two pending seeing their application?
That works fine. That won't be an issue at all.
Stephen, you're good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine voting on Dulcie.
Okay. All right, so Jeff, do you want to make the motion with the amendment that we're pulling the EDC Meredith Lee and zoning alternate Kristen Cummings, so we
That's
can
exactly
see
the motion I was thinking of, Sabrina.
their. Good.
So moved.
I'll second that motion. Okay, so Sabrina is a yes. Ken,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next up is the meeting minutes of July 6th. I had
Yeah.
one edit. You know, I love the tiny edits, Robin.
Knock your socks off.
Hold on, I have to pull it up. I just wanted to clarify for the record, page 7, I think it is. On the comment about COVID versus flu,
Yeah.
it starts with Lori Bender, that paragraph.
Yep.
The last sentence of that paragraph, it says she notes the number of fatalities of COVID's lower than the number of fatalities for flu. I just want to clarify, that was when she spoke, we didn't have any data or anything. I mean, that was purely her opinion.
Okay.
So I think if we could just say that she thinks, or like stated, just make it clear that it was a matter of opinion, because I just don't
Okay.
want it on the record, because that actually, I believe, is not true.
Okay,
So if you could just clarify that,
got it.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other edits? Okay. So anyone want to make a motion here?
Sure, I'll move that with that one correction, that we approve the public meeting minutes of July 6, 2020.
Okay,
Second.
I will. All right, Stephen seconded. All right, Sabrina's yes. Ken,
Yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes,
and Anna.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so we have our first and only appointment, Daryl Peasley and Sherry Gould, regarding Abenaki Trail. So it looks like we have Sherry Gould with us. I don't know if,
Daryl is
Daryl is.
here.
we talked before.
For some reason, he's not promoting.
Hmm.
Is Daryl still here? Maybe it's
I see him on the attendees.
Sherry, you need to unmute your
Oh, yeah.
microphone.
Now it looks like panelist. So, oh, now it looks like he's gone. Sherry Gould, if you're with us, if you can unmute. Hi. Welcome.
It took quite a while for mine to connect. Daryl's might be taking some time too.
Huh. It looks like he
And
might
Matt-
be gone.
Trying to get back in, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll watch for him.
Sherry, do you want to start while we wait for,
Sure.
okay.
So hi, my name is Sherry Gould. I'm a member of the Nulhegan Abenaki tribe, and Daryl's also a member of the same tribe. And I think we're going to have another member, Madeline Wright, who's going to join us as well. And she's a tribal council member. And
She's
our
on.
committee-
She's on.
excuse me.
She was on. Now she needs to unmute herself as well.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Great.
And so,
Hello.
Hello.
Bye.
so this was Daryl's idea to begin with, that we look at Hopkinton. You guys have done some really exciting things with the, getting rid of Columbus Day and celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. And then last summer, the program at the Historical Society looked pretty incredible. And what we're interested in doing is, as a tribal effort in the state, is to identify different villages around the state that we can do some educational something. Like, we want to be really flexible with each town about what kind of thing they would like to have. And the ultimate long-term goal would be to build an Abenaki trail, so that like people around the state would know that they could go from town to town and see whatever installation winds up installed. And there's a historic map for anyone who may know about this or have an interest. The price map that lays out the original villages. We're finding some new information from what's already on that map, but anyway, so we know where our original villages are, and we can, lay out an Indian Trails kind of adventure theme for the state that will also educate people about who we are and include who we are today as well.
That sounds awesome. I
You know,
love that idea.
Daryl had talked to Sam. I'm trying to buy time while he comes back because I know he had talked to somebody named Sam and probably has some other things to add that I'm not sure about, but
Have you talked to other, are we one of the first ones you've talked to about this, or have you done it in other towns?
no, this will be the first town. It was
Okay.
just a idea that came to us. You know, there's so much going on politically, right? About statues and racist things and blah, blah, blah. And so a group of us got together and we just decided, you know what, we just want to do something positive and really have this kind of a lot of us are artists, so we're kind of hoping we can get some of the artists from the Council on the Arts to get involved, and just who knows where it'll go with each town. But yeah, you're the first town, and this meeting is the first announcement. So we haven't even talked to people we know at the Historical Society or anywhere else yet, but we certainly intend to. But we wanted to let you all know what our thoughts were and where we were hoping. I mean, we don't have a plan of where it's going to go. We're just we know what we want the end goal to be with the trails, but what Hopkinton would look like will be, I would assume a committee would want to form a committee in town. And I think Daryl had some ideas on that he was going to share. It looks like maybe Neil's on the phone with Daryl, I'm hoping.
Jerry, do you know where in town, or is there a location in town that you guys were thinking of?
Well, for the actual village location so far, and we're going to be bringing in some archaeologists and really getting a lot more expert information, but I'm a genealogist. In fact, I'm the Nalhegan tribal genealogist. Madeline's on the tribal council. So just from my own knowledge and looking at the town histories, what I've discovered is that West Hop and Eastern Henniker, both in like a general area, there've been a lot of artifacts. And some people have said like fishing grounds or hunting grounds or something. I think there was a village center there. But I think there's also a site somewhere around Putney Hill as well. So the Daryl's been looking more at. So yeah, and so it may anyway, we've talked about the town will really need to decide, but it could be something at the Historical Society. It could be something at the library. That's a beautiful location. Clearly our village would be along the river. So it should be something that's relatively close to the river. The library is not far from the river. Whatever people in town decide, and whether it's going to be an outdoor monument, whether it's going to be just some informational kind of signage with educational kind of stuff, who knows, whatever, it can be a lot of different things. But we just want to educate people about who our people were that were in town. I think the Historical Society did a pretty good job of identifying some of I really liked what they did with positive colonial Abenaki relations at Contact in town. And because we see that a lot in the history books, but we don't hear a lot about it. We hear about savage attacks and captives and all those kinds of stories. But if we can flesh out more for the town, what the day-to-day village life would have been like and have some educational materials, that's kind of what we had in mind.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Daryl is on the phone.
Yay.
Okay. Hi, Daryl.
I'm not sure what happened to my computer, but anyway, I'm here.
Oh.
Hi, Daryl. Sherry was just filling us in on sort of the big picture on your idea.
That's good. She's the big picture person.
I'm
not sure how far she went, or.
Well, she mentioned
Well,
you don't necessarily have a plan fully baked yet, but she mentioned you had raised the idea of maybe like forming a committee to look at this.
Yeah, we didn't want to go too far until we found out how the town fathers felt about it. I've lived here all my life. I know the town is very proud of its history. And when we were thinking of a project, and I don't know why it popped into my head, but it did, that, there was a canoe found here, there's a fire pit over in the western end of town. The town is named after a river that's named after an Abenaki word. So that's all I was thinking. And I didn't know if how the town would feel about adding a little more to its history.
Well, I love the idea. Even just hearing the preliminary idea about this, I think I was unable to attend the Historical Society event, but I remember reading about it and it looked amazing. So I don't know if other board members have initial thoughts and
Sure. Okay, this is Ken Traum. I had attended the cemetery performance at Putney Hill, and I would think I would certainly like your concept, and I think that working with the Historical Society would just be a natural fit, because they have their canoe at their headquarters, and they've already done a lot of research, I believe, along this line.
Right, and we know people at the Historical Society. So that was one of the organizations we were thinking of.
Yeah.
To work with. We weren't sure if you had any other ideas. But like we said, we didn't want to go too far in our planning stages until we found out how the town felt about it. I'm hoping that we can contact the Historical Society and they'll be excited to work with us because we're excited to work with them, so.
I think it's a great idea. And I'm curious to see what you guys develop and bring back later on.
I do as well. This is Anna Wells. I think this is a wonderful idea. I think it's definitely worth running with and utilizing all the resources that you can find. I think it's a wonderful, as you say, it's a wonderful way to highlight something and do something positive in a time when things are rough out there. So I think I think it's a wonderful way to channel some energy and move things in a really nice direction. And so I absolutely fully support the idea. I think it's wonderful.
Well, thank you. Mr. Donahue?
Yeah, I agree with Anna. Anything positive is welcome. It's just been too much negative over the past 3 months.
Yeah, I hear you there. All right, so
yeah,
if
so
you have any, yep.
I think there's no objection from us, certainly, in terms of seeing where this goes. And if you want to come back, you know, and present anything to us, or if there's anything you want to float to us before you go down a certain path, definitely feel free to keep us posted. And I think it's a wonderful idea. And I do think, you know, this town loves its history, and it's really great to learn more about, you know, do a deeper dive and agree with everything about anything we can do positive right now is a good thing. So thank you for coming up with this and being willing to do this, and definitely just stay in touch.
We definitely will. We'll keep you in touch stage by stage.
Awesome.
Do you have any ideas of any locations in town that you'd like to see something done with? Because I was thinking the Historical Society and maybe something at the library. Because a lot of people go to that library.
Yeah.
I think those are both great locations. I also think, as you said, probably the villages, the settlements were along rivers, and we're so lucky to have the Kentucky running through. And there's a couple places, I mean, it could be as simple as signage, you know, by the gazebo, by the river, the rowel covered bridge there. There's the canoe put in not far from there. I mean, I think it could be not necessarily a single thing, but it could be a more dispersed, you know, if there were, you're calling it the Abenaki Trail, right? And so I think it would be a really neat idea to have things leading people through town, going from site to site and saying, you know, not necessarily like, this is where we found a canoe, but you could say, you know, this is an example of a location that perhaps that, you know, you say what you know, and you speculate as to what a site could have been, what the experience could have been at that site. So I think I love the idea of it being a more dispersed trail. I think that's wonderful. And I think it also helps to, you know, I'm on the Economic Development Committee. I think it could be a great draw too for folks to town. Folks are exploring their ancestry or just exploring Native American history and culture. That could be an interesting draw to town as well. So
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it would also be
I was
very,
thinking,
oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
It would also be very good for the high school students and elementary school students in town.
Yeah.
And, we could kick off some projects with the schools there to learn about Abenaki life in
Yeah,
that area.
yeah, they I think it's fourth grade. I should remember, it wasn't that long ago. My son's entering sixth, but it was either third or fourth grade that the classes visit Great Bay, and they talk about how the Native folks lived and how colonialists lived. And so there is already sort of that study unit going on, and they can absolutely be great to have those local information touch points too. So yeah.
All
The
right.
gazebo was an area that I wanted to look at, but I wasn't sure who owned it. So now I know that the town owns it. So
Yeah.
it's a good area to look at.
That's right.
I'll just add one more quick note my husband reminded me of, and that is that the Abenaki, we're very fortunate that we have a lot of dictionaries, and a lot of them were written by Abenaki chiefs or members historically who were interested in the language, teachers, what have you. But the most authoritative one, or the most recent and complete one, was done by Gordon Day, and Gordon Day lived in Hopkinton. And he was a forester before he became an ethnohistorian. And so he was very interested in place names and in the language. And what he discovered was a map in the state archives, and there was a fold in the map. And when he was able to take this piece of tape off and unfold it, the name Kuntukuk was there, the anglicized version of our word, but there was a P in front of it. So it gave the true meaning of the name, which is the place of the nut trees. And I wish I could pronounce it for you, but there will be somebody, we'll all be really good at it before this is done. You all will be really good at it.
That's great.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ties for Hopkinton and Kentucky.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Daryl said he lived in town. Sherry, do you also live in Hopkinton?
No, I live in Warner.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then we have a couple of other members, tribal members, who couldn't make the meeting tonight, but Tina Daniels is in Goffstown, and she's at her select board meeting. She's supervisor of the checklist down there. So she's busy tonight and couldn't be here. My cousin, Vicki Blanchard, lives in Hillsborough, and she's on vacation. And then our tribal historical officer, Brian, I'm gonna kill the pronunciation.
Jennifer.
He was unable to be here, but he lives in Massachusetts, but he is our tribal historian. So he'll be a great asset to the team in terms of fleshing out village life and what it consisted of.
Great.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us. I love this idea. And
Well, thank you for having me.
definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can't we just talk about like that all night? Just like positive and proactive and
Agree.
engaging. Let's just close the meeting now.
All right. Well, this will be positive, Anna. Moving on to town meeting update.
If you say so.
All right. Town
so-
meeting update.
The update I have is the mailings out, which you know. I want to thank Delcy Limpoma, who's helping coordinate the setup and all of that, which she did for the school, also for the drive-through. I have some of your presentations, but if you have things to come in, And then the big thing is that House Bill 1129 was signed on Friday. I've been trying to reach someone at the AG's office all day to really get confirmation on, to give you the information whether the sort of the process Bruce outlined, or if really the statute is what should be followed. I did reach, I also have calls into our town council and haven't gotten anything back. I did reach NHMA and was asking about whether your motions had to reflect the exact wording, and the answer back from Steve Buckley was we should follow 1129 and present the original warrant articles, and then through the process outlined in 1129 amend the articles. So but I wish I had that. I don't know if someone, maybe they could give me a better contact at the AG's office, because the main number and where I've been going, they don't take messages even. They just say keep calling back, but I'm not sure anybody's there to answer the phone because they have not.
Neil, I would try to reach out to Bud Fitch.
Direct.
He's Secretary of State's office, but he's, I think, of counsel to the Secretary of State. And I think he works kind of tag teams with one of the attorney generals on all these election related questions. And I forget, there's an assistant AG who's his kind of counterpart, and I'm blanking on his or her name. But I know that Bud has dealt with some of these questions previously, so he might be he might be more accessible than whatever number you were using.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I think if you even email him, he's somewhat, depending on the day and the week, he's responsive to emails too.
Okay. All right, I will do that. And the only place there's really, it's around amendments is the real question. Everything else, where we met the 7-day mailing and everything else required is in there. So it's really the question around how the amendments are handled.
And I was just looking at it again. So it doesn't say much about the amendment process, right? I mean,
Basically, all it says is that we can amend the posted warrant with amendments.
Okay.
And I think what they've passed and they took it from the Bow model, they envisioned there not being the ability for people to vote on amendments, that the amendments would be made prior to the ballot being finalized. So I think that's probably the biggest
right
question around that.
Amendments come from us, as they did for the Bow school.
Right. Well, from the comments that are submitted, there's still that comment period between the first meeting and the second meeting, and then under this, then the select board responds to those and makes amendments if they so desire or see fit based on the comments.
Yeah.
I think until we hear otherwise, I think we should go forward with the plan we have in place. I don't know what else to do.
Well, under any interpretation of the law, we're fine until we have to put together a new ballot. Is that correct? A ballot with regards to amendments to the warrant articles.
Yeah, I think that's really the crux of the kind of the unease is who does the amending and how does that work?
Yeah. So we really have like 12 days to find the legal answer to that.
Try to have that tomorrow.
Well,
I mean, that, yeah, I would too.
because shockingly, our first Zoom meeting is next Monday.
Mhm.
So I think we really need to know so we can explain to people. So Neil, assuming you're able to get some, well, I guess, what are we going to take on authority? I would say that our own town council would be my number one choice in terms of following their advice. I guess if we get kind of a mixed bag, I'm wondering logistically, do we agree we want to go with our town council's advice? And then we would need to would we need to like have a meeting so we can discuss process with Bruce before Monday? I'm just thinking about logistics.
I think it depends on the answers we get. But you know, NHMA is a wonderful service, you know, but they are not going to defend us if somebody challenges what we do. So I
Right.
agree that we need to make sure that our town council is on board with, you know, how we're proceeding, because they're going to be the ones that stand up and argue for us if we end up in court.
So why don't we say if council agrees with our approach, we'll stick with it. And obviously we don't need to meet again on it, but if they agree with NHMA, then we potentially need to, well, I feel like we would need to meet with Bruce to talk process.
We probably do, but you know, if we need to do that, we should probably include town council, and then it would be a non-meeting.
Yeah, okay, good point.
Even be a conference call.
All right, that sounds reasonable. All right, well, thanks for trying to track down answers, Neil.
Sure. It's probably worth noting that the process that we have in place was approved initially by the AG's office under the law before anything was changed. So I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm not sure what would have made this invalid under the old system, but we'll have clarification hopefully early tomorrow.
All right, thank you for that. What else on town meeting? Who's organizing like volunteers and making sure we have enough people for July 25th to help? Is that?
Delsey's doing a lot of that, and I'm working with her. She's reached out to all the previous volunteers
Mhm.
and to get feedback, and so.
Okay.
Is there, do you know, Neil, if Dulcie needs any of us to be present for the drive-through voting?
I think she may, but I'll check with her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm already on the hook.
Jeff will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same with like ballot counting. I thought there were concerns with having school board members count for some reason, is what I heard. But I don't know if, I mean, I'm happy to help in whatever way, but whether it's being there all day or counting ballots or both. So tell Dulcie to rope us in.
Yeah.
School board, they tried to not have a quorum, so it wasn't a posted meeting, but we could always post it. We need people.
Yeah. All right. And then people will get slides to Neil by Wednesday, I think you said?
Wednesday, yes, that
Okay.
would be great. And then I'll
Alright.
send the whole thing out so you can all review it in plenty of time.
And
I'm sorry, Brittany, let me just ask one quick question, if that's okay.
yeah.
Neil, you mentioned that you'd already started putting together some of the slides.
At least kind of the budget ones, because we had already done those. And then a slide with each Warren article on it.
Okay. I was just asking so we don't duplicate whatever you've already done.
Right. But
Okay.
as far as any detail or anything you want as part of your presentation, none of that's been done other than
Yeah.
Ken, but Ken's,
And it's special.
yeah, Ken and I, we work together.
Especially time consuming to Neil. Actually, I was in town hall and Neil and I were working on the slide presentation for the financial warrant articles. And I think they're basically ready to go. And part of the reason I wanted to get those done quickly is that Wednesday morning, Neil and I will be doing an expedited review of the warrant at Rotary. And then Wednesday evening, be presenting to the Budget Committee.
Mhm.
And after contacting Mark Zankel, at the end of that, hopefully the town presentation, will be asking for a vote from the Budget Committee, hopefully to endorse our amended items.
Thank you for doing the budget committee presentation.
I didn't think anybody else wanted to.
I'll be trying to tune in.
Yeah, would it
that
be
part.
helpful for us to virtually attend?
I mean, you're certainly most welcome to, and if you think that, I'd be appreciative of any feedback afterwards if you think that there's a different way to present it that would make more sense to the public. With the Budget Committee, you'll be starting from a different point than I would with the full public, because the Budget Committee is fully aware of what they approved going into March.
Okay.
Yeah. Neil, I just had a practical question about next Monday. Are you going to be the person controlling Zoom and like
It-
doing the PowerPoint and everything?
Unless you want to do it, yes.
No.
I'm planning to have it all set up and ready to go, yes.
Thank you. That sounds wonderful. Because I thought Bruce probably doesn't want to take that on.
No, he does not.
But Bruce will be running the actual meeting. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Do that.
All right. Ready to move on, everybody? All right, we have new business, year-to-date revenue / expenses.
Sure, those were sent out, and the summary sheets I updated with the new numbers from last week, because that seemed like better numbers to compare where we are. As far as revenues, nothing jumps out as being an issue, really. A few things are timing, that they're a little low. Payment in lieu of taxes, for example, is just coming in now, but it has been billed. Interest is behind where it normally would be, but the lien process was put on hold under the governor's order, so that is behind. One thing we always look at is motor vehicle, and those look good. They're at 50, almost 52%. So through June, so that is good. That's running right on. And we've received LTAR. The big thing under from the state is the municipal aid that was voted by the legislature. We have received the second year payment, so that is in there, which is why that's at 95%. Nothing else really in revenues. And in expenses, same type of thing. It's really just timing. Things that are high. Finance is slightly high, but the audit is done for the year. Health insurance always runs a little high because it's paid the month before for the next month until the end when that gets adjusted. Cemeteries runs high, but is reimbursed from the trust fund anything that they go over on budget. Under emergency management, all of that is Gopher grant info stuff. It's either that 58,285 includes the first responder stipend, which is money we've already received, and the rest is all Gopher grant submissions. Buildings and grounds is timing and long-term debt and interest is all timing too. So nothing out of the ordinary. And that's compared with the proposed numbers that are part of the new presentation that you voted last week.
Ken, you have any questions?
Actually, not on this particular thing, but Neil, do you know how property tax payments came in?
I should get a full rundown of that, but they came in as normal. Carol didn't see anything that was unusual. So, but I think she's working on the full statement and we'll get that.
And with regards to highways and streets, has Dan lined up a paving company paving this year, or has he been holding off waiting on the budget?
Nope, a paving company is lined up.
Okay, so he'll be getting a number of things done this year.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay. And on the revenue side, ambulance fees from ComStar are running low, and I assume that was because people were reluctant to call the ambulance for several months.
Yes, and that has gone back up. But during the time, yeah, people were not calling the ambulance as they were getting ready to be very busy. Nobody was calling. I think they were reluctant to go to the hospital. So, but those numbers have come back up and are at normal levels right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I certainly agree with you. A lot of the where there seems to be a discrepancy in the numbers of timing is the big issue. So thanks for doing this.
And the one other new business thing that came in was the summer concert information. So I don't know if you want to put that under here.
Yeah, why don't we do that before we move on to town administrator updates?
I thought this was a pretty good plan, actually. I don't know if everyone else has had a chance to look at it.
I agree. I was okay with the plan. My concern was, what if there was a concert and there wasn't social distancing or whatever? Could we just say that's it, no more?
I mean, I think if you're saying, we are saying these are the conditions under which you can hold the concerts. If you don't meet these conditions, you can't hold the concerts. So that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and like obviously contingent on any guidance, like, hopefully we won't have to go there, but if the governor, we go back to the restriction on gatherings more than 10 people or whatever, then we would obviously restrict as needed. Hopefully that won't happen. Any other thoughts or comments on this? Okay, so do we need to like officially approve them having the concerts? Or
Maybe
no?
it'd be good if you did under those guidelines, which makes it easier to enforce them. If you,
I think we did for reopening of other stuff. So
Okay.
I think. So I'll make a motion that we approve the summer concert series going forward under the guidelines they've provided, with 2 additional ones. One, if we find that they're not enforcing or following these guidelines, then we can stop the summer concert series. And the second being is that it'll be allowed to continue so long as any federal or state laws prohibit gatherings of more than 10 people.
Yeah. Or orders.
Or orders, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. Can do a vote. Sabrina's yes. Ken,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Whoever put that together. Anna, I don't know who put together the.
That would be the inimitable Leanne Dance. She's a doer.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Town administrator updates.
Sure. Other than town meeting, which has been taking most of the time, our Gopher grant application has gone in. And we're in the process of submitting, which we'll do tomorrow, everything we've expended up to this point. It's a little over $10,000 at this point. So that's moving forward. The good news is we've just learned that they will extend the period for the Gopher grant and add from September 1 through October 15th. They will be covering that time frame so we could submit on that. And that those expenses will be due in at the end of October. So I guess as they've seen money coming in and determined they have enough to extend it out. We also, it was set up so by the end of August, we needed to estimate what we would be using till the end of the year to planning that out. So, but it looks like we will be our $137,000 that has been allocated to us. We have not used nearly that much, at least at this point.
And is this separate from any election assistance that will be? Yeah.
Yes, there's also election assistance, and they're running, the Secretary of State's office now are running every other week webinars for clerks, moderators, and supervisors of the checklist. So I've been trying to listen in on at least some of those. They'll be providing PPE. They're providing plastic plexiglass sort of barriers to go up, as well as pens, in our case, pens for everyone. You'll take your pen home after you vote. And really, there's a whole long list of what they're providing. It's being provided based on the number of people who voted in the last election, so they know how many, but they really haven't told us yet what that means as far as how many stations there. So we're kind of hoping to get that information to know if we need to supplement, but if we need to supplement, we can do it with the Gopher grant also, if we have to.
Okay. Thank you. I was wondering about election stuff too.
And we have a meeting scheduled with the supervisors of the checklist and Carol, the town clerk, and Sarah Frashino, who will be the moderator then, and I are meeting later in this month. So we're going to meet next week, but next week got a little busy, so we moved it back.
That's good. All right. Any other updates, Neil?
That is it.
It seems like everything reopening has gone pretty well. I've heard good things about Kimball Pond and the canoe and like kayak rental too. And people are pleased the tennis courts are open again too.
We've had no complaints. Actually, we've had less complaints since we've opened than we had like when we were closed and people were using. the
Right. Good. Okay, so we have public forum now for all 5 people with us. So if anyone wants to talk, you can raise your hand. It doesn't look like we have any call-in people. It looks like everybody's okay. Anybody? All right. Doesn't look like anyone wants to talk. So we have other.
I have a question for Neil about how, what the demand is at the food bank.
I don't know. It was up some. I don't know how much it's up or if it's increased since it went up initially. I'm not sure.
Okay. And I'll just note that the state reported that Hopkinton unemployment rate was now 6.6%. So it's steadily been decreasing, slowly but decreasing.
Thanks, Ken. That's good. Anyone else have anything for other? Okay. We don't have a non-public. So that leaves adjournment. This is the shortest meeting we've had in a while.
Good.
God.
We can-
I'm
Yeah.
sad to say goodbye.
Embrace it.
Uh,
Next
Yeah.
week, there's no regular meeting because it will be town meeting
Yeah.
next Monday.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you guys have fun with that.
Yeah, thanks, Robin.
Not me.
I'm going to be there every minute.
No.
So Neil, I know we'll be talking soon. And thank you, everybody. So
I
I
need
guess
a motion.
Yep, we got to our motion.
Okay.
Anna's moving and
Jeff is seconding.
Jeff is seconding.
Thank
And
you.
our roll call, Sabrina is yes, Stephen,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody who joined us from the public. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Neil.
Night, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Good night.
See you
Bye.
soon.